Well, it's been another day with a dramatic escalation in the restrictions faced by millions of Australians. Today in Queensland, a week ago, none of Australia was under lockdown orders. Now we've got Greater Sydney, the New South Wales Central Coast, the Blue Mountains, Wollongong, South East Queensland, Townsville, Magnetic Island, Palm Island, Darwin, Palmerston, Litchfield, Perth and Peel, all, it's a long list, all under lockdowns. And the one in Queensland today sparked not by the two clusters that we knew about yesterday that were posing some threat, but by what sounds like it could well be a third one, a 19-year-old person who worked outside a COVID ward in a hospital in Brisbane. Not yet formally linked to that. They could have picked it up in the community. That is still a plausible theory, but for now, let's work under the assumption that this is another breach of quarantine, and Queensland's had a doozy in the last 9 days. This would be, if it's confirmed, the fourth time the virus has escaped Australia's quarantine measures in Queensland in just the past 9 days. 2 out of the Novotel, 1 starting the Northern Territory Tanami mine cluster, 1 the Portuguese flight crew, and then potentially a 4th one here who has been out in the community for a long time. 10 days while infectious, has travelled to Magnetic Island. The authorities up there want everyone on Magnetic Island to be tested. That's 2,500 people tested regardless of symptoms. There are some vulnerable populations in that part of the world, as well as through Townsville and parts of Brisbane. So that, 3 clusters in Queensland causing some headaches now, and one of them of particular concern that's thrown much of the state into some form of lockdown. Let's hope those numbers do not continue and we don't see any more breaches of quarantine. We've got 2 more cases in the Northern Territory, both adding to that Tanami mine cluster. That number's 10 cases now across 3 states and territories, but these 2 close contacts of a previous case in the community. Hopefully, no onward transmission. They were only in the community for a short time while well, actually, it's not believed they're in the community at all while infectious, but the government's treating them as though they were infectious. So there's a long list of exposure sites there just to be on the safe side. 1 more case in WA, but this is actually the one that we learned about yesterday, late last night, the 3rd in this cluster, and no more have been found since then. But there is a cluster of 3, 2 of them locally acquired inside WA's borders in 2 different sites, just from an exposure site attended by that first index case. So another one there to watch, and 19 cases in New South Wales. So that is stable on the last couple of days. Again, they're mostly being linked back to a known source, but again, a lot of them are still out in the community for at least part of their infectious period, with the potential of infecting others. And still, super spreading events growing in size, clusters, sub-clusters of this Bondi cluster growing in size. The West Hoxton Park birthday party, we're up to 27 attendees, plus about another 7 contacts of those people who had attended. That was thought to be a party of 30 people. It's actually turned out today a party that more than 40 people attended, and a lot of them have been infected. Some of the ones that haven't are the people that were vaccinated against this virus. We've got a growth in the Great Ocean Foods cluster at Marrickville. We've got more high-risk exposure sites being added to the list as well. But that is at least stable. It's holding the line in New South Wales. And one other great thing that we're seeing at the moment is some very good testing numbers. We've seen numbers in the 50,000s for the last few days, rivaling this Avalon cluster surge that we saw in December. Today we've seen 67,000 test results reported. Not quite a record for a single day, but pretty close, and especially good because this represents the tests that were done on a Sunday, traditionally the lowest number of the week. So a really good result there. And we can say now that in the past week, New South Wales has reported more test results than they have in any week previous to this.